Hi everybody, I'm going to show you this process of scaling a photograph or some sort of image so that you can put a very equal grid on it of any amount of units, and you don't have to be measuring the photograph or the image, and it's a way easier way. It's all done by proportions. And so I've got a magazine here that I've just cut out some sheets of paper. I'm going to square this off, and if you've never used a roto cutter, it's a great way to kind of get your images nice and square. You could use a ruler and X-Acto. You could try to do it with a scissor, but a ruler and an X-Acto blade on a cutting surface is going to be best. So here's this image. I want to make a painting, or I want to enlarge it. I want to put a grid on it. And so the first thing I do is make sure it's absolutely square, again using the roto cutter or a ruler, and I'm just going to put a little dab of glue on the back to kind of stick it to the sheet of paper while I work with it. And I'm putting that in the top left corner of this very large sheet of paper, and I'm bringing it right to the edges and kind of pressing it down. And once I get it down there, the next thing I do is along the bottom straight edge of that image, I'm going to take out a straight line, almost straight line. And then I'm going to take a line here from this vertical. And what I would normally do is ask students who would be standing in front of me how many units they want to make or put a grid on here. So I'm going to say I want to have 4 rows across this way and then 3 columns this way. And so I'm going to do the rows first, and that means I'm set up just right here to do that. So I need numbers that are multiples of 4. And so I start off by going 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. All those numbers are multiples of 4. I'm using a ruler here, and I'm going to place it in this lower left corner. And when I say place it, I'm going to put 0 of my ruler, this bottom corner here, at that very lower left. And I'm going to start arcing it this way. And essentially what I'm doing is dividing this vertical so that I have 4 rows. I have numbers 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So I rotate the ruler, and I'm going to go to 8. Here's the number 8 on my ruler. Here is 0 on the lower left. And how many 4s are in 8? There are 2. So every 2 inches, 2, 4, and 6, I'm placing a dot. I need to do this again, and you'll see why in a split second. So I need to do another line or another angle. So I'm just going to go out to 12. Here's my number 12 on the ruler. Again, I'm leaving 0 on the lower left corner. And then when 12 intersects this top parallel, this top edge of the paper, I stop. How many 4s are in 12? 3. So now I go every 3 inches, 3, 6, and 9. And now I have 2 sets of dots that are kind of in line with each other. And when I connect these 2 dots and draw them across the image, I will have equally divided that vertical, this line segment, absolutely perfectly into 4 equal sections, without having to measure the photograph. Again, a lot of the problem when people want to put a grid on an image is, they're trying to make everything into whole inches. You don't have to do that here. Simply tell yourself through this proportional method how many times you want to divide it, and then create these diagonals based on those numbers. So I'm going to do the other part now, and I'm going to turn the pad around just so it makes sense. I always want to look at this the same way. So I just divided that vertical, but now I have another vertical here as I'm looking at it, and I said I wanted to have 3 columns. So I need numbers divisible by 3. So we're going to go 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. I just want to know my options. I'm going to go to this corner here now on my pad. It's always going to be my lower left, and that's my 0. And now I'm going to look for numbers here on my ruler that cross this line. And I'm going to go to 9 this time. And again, it doesn't matter as long as it's one of these numbers. So how many 3s are in 9? 3. So every 3 inches here, 3 and 6, I make a dot. I'm going to do 12 now. How many 3s are in 12? 4. So again, I'm lining up 12 here against this line and 0 here. So I said 4. Here's 4 and 8. And I'm crossing. Now I have 2 sets of dots here. And when I connect these 2 dots here and these 2 dots here, I will have now divided this line segment perfectly. And when we look at this, we see this image has a grid of 3 by 4 or 12 units, and I didn't have to measure anything on that photograph. I did everything off to the side.